Hey everyone, welcome to my summary of venue. This is one of those topics in civil procedure that's up there with subject matter jurisdiction and personal jurisdiction. Uh, a court needs to be the proper venue to hear a case. So you're going to need to know it. You're probably going to be tested on it on an exam, although probably not as much as you would be on personal jurisdiction or subject matter jurisdiction. But it's up there as an important thing, and we're going to go over it. We're going to go over transfers, dismissals, forum nonconvenience, so that you know everything you need to know about venue for your upcoming civil procedure exam. So let's dive right into it. Venue is not a constitutional or jurisdictional issue, but it just refers to the particular court within a particular court system that can hear a case. And by a court system, I mean like there's systems with it. There's state courts, state judicial districts, federal judicial districts. Just because they're both within the same state does not mean that they're within the same system. So state courts and federal courts that are located in, say, both the state of Ohio are not in the same system because state and federal are separated. So yeah, this is about fairness and convenience to the defendant, making sure that we're not summoning them, hauling them over to a judicial district that they have nothing to do with or that is completely inconvenient for them. So, as I said, court needs to be the proper venue to hear a case. There is a federal venue statute, and as I said, nothing in the Constitution on venue. But what has Congress said about venue? So they passed 28 United States Code Section 1391B 1 through 3, which provides three different scenarios where a court can be proper venue for a case. So let's go over those. Subsection 1 provides that venue is proper in a judicial district where any defendant resides if all defendants are residents of the state in which the district is located. Subsection 2 provides that venue is proper in the judicial district where a substantial part of the acts or omissions or where a substantial part of the property at issue in the case is located. So these two provisions are considered to be pretty broad. They catch most stuff, but in the event that they don't, there is subsection 3 to basically be like a catch-all. And subsection 3 is rarely applied. It provides that where 1 and 2 do not apply, any judicial district where any defendant is subject to the court's personal jurisdiction for such action is a proper venue. Again, rare, and it's typically only when the case arises abroad. Now, residency for venue purposes, because the statute uses the word resident, and we need to know what it means to be a resident first. It's pretty straightforward. So residency for individual persons is determined by the judicial district in which they are domiciled. Domicile generally means that they live there with intent to remain there indefinitely. Residency for corporations, on the other hand, is determined by their state of incorporation and principal place of business. So it's basically the same analysis for general jurisdiction. They're located there, they've got their headquarters, or it's their principal place of business, they're incorporated there, such that the court would have general personal jurisdiction over them. Dismissal and transfers. Where venue is improper, the defendant can file a motion to dismiss the case under 28 U.S.C. 1406 or Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 12b3. And then under that same statute, the defendant can also move to transfer the case where the venue is improper, but the case may only be transferred to another venue within the same court system. So keep that in mind. You're not going to transfer a case anywhere out of the court system. So, for example, state courts cannot transfer to federal courts. Where venue is proper, the defendant can still move to transfer a case under 28 United States Code 1404 to have the case transferred to a more appropriate judicial district. And then courts also have reserved their common law authority to dismiss a case under the doctrine of forum nonconvenience. It's a Latin term that means inconvenient forum. And they can do this even where the venue is proper. But the problem with the venue is that it's just inconvenient for the defendant. So the defendant sees that and they file a motion to dismiss or transfer the case. Now, if they file a motion to dismiss, the court will probably opt to do a transfer instead, because transfers are more in the interest of justice. They don't force the plaintiff to refile the whole case. They just say, hey, okay, the case is going to be moving to another court within the system. So we don't have to deal with a bunch of inefficiencies, inconveniences, and extra work for the plaintiff. Important to note, too, that when evaluating a motion under forum nonconvenience, it does not matter whether the defendant is seeking more favorable law. We get this from Piper Aircraft Co. And then, of course, when you're evaluating a motion to transfer, you should start by analyzing Section 1391 to see first if it's a proper venue, and then you evaluate the private and public factors that courts typically take into account. There's quite a few of these, a good number of considerations. So private factors include plaintiff's choice of forum, unless the balance of convenience is strongly in favor of the defendant's already, the defendant's choice of forum, whether the claim arose elsewhere, the convenience of the parties, the convenience of the witnesses, and the ease of access to sources of proof. So yeah, witnesses and evidence are an important part. Like, how are you gonna summon your witnesses? How far are you gonna summon them from, basically? Or subpoena them or whatever. Public factors. The public considerations typically include the transferee's familiarity with the governing laws, the relative congestion of the calendars of the potential transferee and transferor courts. That's an important thing, their dockets. So if one particular court is swamped and others are not, they're going to take that into account as a public factor and say, oh, it's probably not in the public interest to move this case to this court. And then lastly, there's the local interest in deciding local controversies at home. And we see this come up previously too, like in personal jurisdiction, where it's like, oh, does this state have an interest in resolving this dispute, resolving this issue, adjudicating it, and bringing about justice? So you can kind of see the parallels between venue and personal jurisdiction. But yeah, I don't think venue is as difficult as personal jurisdiction. It's more statutory analysis. You don't have to keep tabs on a bunch of different cases, like where personal jurisdiction, you have all that International Shoe, Worldwide Volkswagen, Burger King, Asahi Metal. Venue is just about 1391 analysis, and then some other stuff like the private and public factors. And you also want to pay attention to which judicial district stuff that led to the claim is happening in, because that's big, of course, under subsection 2. But yeah, that about does it on venue for me. I really hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that these slides are shining light on some things in venue that you might have been unclear on. As always, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe to the channel if you found this video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.